Hello and welcome to this week's Chrono Trigger Jets of Time Async race. Today we have Phone facing off against smercjd. Our flags for today gear Rando and Chronosanity with unlocked magic. In Chronosanity, key items and chests are shuffled into the same pool. This means that with a few exceptions, 4 chests that are in go mode or could otherwise become unobtainable, key items can be found in any of them, and key item checks can give random items. Our runners will need to know the locations of all chests in the game and good routes to obtain them. We start the run with Marl and Lucar, a strong combination for magic, and with magic already unlocked, we may find a good party fairly early on. Phone heads to Fiona. Smirk begins his run with shopping. Phone heads to Frog's Burrow for 3 chests. We have a frog in Burrow. Phone initiates the bridge check and will likely return later. Phone hits up Truce Canyon for 2 chests. In an unlucky break for Phone, this last chest is blocked by Cathedral completion. Phone is getting his text now. Let's scope it out. First techs are Hypno Wave and Re-Race. second techs are Napalm and Life 2. No screen clears yet, but Napalm should suffice for the early game. Smerc heads to Cathedral 4 to characters and a good amount of chests. And we have a Chrono in front of Cathedral. In most runs, we would see some runners dip out of Cathedral at this point, but we really need to reach the end to check all of our chests. Phone finds nothing of value at the Elder's house. And now we'll see if Phone can get anything from the castle chests. Phone is really going all in on the chest checks, and it's not really paying off so far. Smerc is checking the right side of Cathedral meanwhile. Smerc finds a Wondermune next to the Mega statue. Not bad. Let's hope he finds Frog. Not even the carpenter's wife can save these early checks for Phone. Phone strikes out and heads to Cathedral, defeated. Phone gets his Chrono recruit. Smerc is wrapping up the Cathedral as Phone starts it. He may end up pulling a reverse Phone play and waste his time checking the early chests. For those that are used to Bourse Rando, this may seem a bit weird. This is what we like to call non-Bourse Rando. It's an obscure flag that puts bourses in their vanilla positions. Smerc will make quick work of this little guy. And Yakra is gone. Phone has opted to skip the right side of Cathedral, which may be a bad idea here. And we have Magus in back of Cathedral. Pretty solid party options, with a lot of useful magic here. Phone begins his Yakra fight now. Smerc looks to be checking the bridge. Not a lot of chests here, but it could be worth for the drops alone. The chef gives Chrono a swallow, which is incredible this early in the run. Smerc did not want the swallow that badly. Smerc looks to be doing his random chests now. And they's found the pendant. Phone is finishing up Yakra now. Phone heads back to Cathedral. By coming back to the right side after Yakra is defeated, we can skip the enemy dialogue and the forced encounter on the right side. It's probably a faster method, but nobody has really timed it. And with the Wonder Moon pickup, our runners are at the same progression level. Phone grabs his bromide tabs. Speaking of bromides and coming back to the Cathedral after clearing, do not attempt this on the left side as the bromide will be unobtainable. Ask me how I know. Smerc makes the bold play of heading to future. We already know the boss will be Dragon Tank, so this is less of a gamble than in boss Rando. And Phone is on his way to Hekron. We have achieved meaningful divergence, folks. Smerc has opted to save Fritz. For those keeping track, does he come back from mid-ethers later? And since we've a dead air for like 2 minutes, let me also present this trivia. The roleplay enemies in Hecarim Cave have elemental counterattacks that you normally never see, as they die in one hit. This chest is always ignored in regular flag sets, but it is good to remember that it does in fact exist. The prison chests, however, do not need to be checked as areas that you cannot come back to and not in the key item pool. Phone is instead going for the no stone unturned method. There is a lot of complicated math that goes into where you are likely to find key items in Chronosanity, and Phone refuses to read into it. Smerc begins his dragon tank fight. More interesting trivia. The dragon tank head in vanilla is immune to all magic that is available to you at the time. However, it is not immune to anything else, so water and shadow magic are still effective against it. Dragon tank goes down for Smerc, and he gets a silver stud. Neat. Phone begins the Hecarim encounter. Phone ends the Hecarim encounter. Antipode 3 is wild in the early game. Phone begins Dinodoro and smercyd up lab 16. Both players have benched Magus, as their starters already have way more than enough endgame magic power. Gate key for Smerk here. Magic is already unlocked, but now he can access pretty much every check in the game, with the exception of the desert key item spot. Smerk dives into the sewers. Smerk finds a Terra Arm +2, which would be immediately equipped by Robo if we had one. Smerk heads to Aris Dome. Here we see Smerk fighting Vanilla Guardian. You may not recognize him, as the sprite is not a noob, but functionally the boss is the same. Phone catches the rock, and it's the only one that he can't equip on any character. He'll be starting his boss shortly. Because Massa immune counter every attack, the best approach is to hit them for 1000 damage on a single hit, which is definitely happening here. Now I know I called the smercjd Vanilla Guardian, but the truth is it's not. This one does party-wide magic attacks, while the bits are dead instead of a harmless countdown. Anyway, it's down now. Phone begins his mass immune fight, and it will probably fall to Antipode 3 before Chrono's interrupt mechanical matter. Massimune really didn't like Chrono here. He often seems to target one party member in particular, usually the third one, but Phone doesn't care. Boss is down. And we have a bent hilt in Aris Dome's sealed room. Phone sees the light and heads to Future. Smerc is halfway through Future, so he has a lot of ground to make up. In a stunning double whammy, Smerc also finds Dreamstone. This will put him close to both Magus Castle and Tyranno Largo modes. Smerc is back to the sewers to finish the job. And in a stunning display of routing prowess, Smerc has found his bent sword. He need only recruit Frog and reforge the sword, and he will be in go mode. Smerc fights the new. These little blueberries give pretty good rewards if you can beat them. Phone begins his dragon tank fight. Phone ends his dragon tank fight. Smerc has recruited Frog. This is not a drill. We have a Magus Castle Go mode. Phone will need to find some items quickly if he is to have any hope of catching up. Let's pop our audio on over to Smerc to watch the Go mode progression. Looks like Smerc is going to be searching for some gear. He has switched party to Chrono Frog Lucar. After a quick gear check, Smerc heads to Magus Castle. Phone gets his gate key. Frog has cut the mountain in half, and we are ready to roll out. Smerc looks to be doing some last minute preparations. And now we begin our castle climb. Phone finds his first sword piece. If he heads to Aris Dome, he will be on his way to the end game, but decently far behind. Phone, not knowing that Go mode is so readily available, heads to Protodome and picks up Robo. And now Phone heads to Prehistory as Smirk approaches Slash. Smirk may be lacking screen clears here and opts to fight the skeletons in hand-to-hand combat. Smirk definitely has his screen clears now. Phone heads up to Dactyl Nest for an Ayla pickup and some chests. Unfortunately for Smirk, Slash is very magic resistant. Luca takes a nap on Smirk's side, and Phone has reached the top of Dactyl Nest. Smirk makes it through Slash. Foam dives into the forest maze and immediately picks up a ruby knife. Those of you that remember Smerc's Aris Dome run will know that Dreamstone was the reward for that check. So Foam will be in Tyranno Go mode if he ever goes there. Magus Castle too, but nobody is gonna choose that. Smerc begins his flea encounter now. Smerc sacrifices Luca's MP. This is probably for the best, as Luca was already really low. Foam with his newly charged pendant begins the sealed chest circuit. And Smerc has made it through Flea, onto the gauntlet section. Smerc seems to be picking up some extra fights on the way. He may be feeling underpowered for Magus. This is often a problem when finding a relatively early go mode before hitting any high experience areas. As it stands right now, he's comfortably ahead. Phone heads to the sealed pyramid. Normally, this is a location where you would want to save and reset to get the better choice. But in Chronosanity, if there is a key item in here, then both chests will contain it. Smerc makes quick work of the gauntlet, but he drops down here. He'll be 4 chests richer and possibly have an opportunity to shelter up. Phone continues blindly looting everything. Phone looks to be headed into the factory. This is not something you normally see from him, but there are a good amount of chests and by extension key item spots here. Smerc continues to squeeze what experience he can out of this dungeon. Smerc has reached the last mandatory encounter before Ozzy and Magus. Phone meanwhile is having no success in his endeavors. Handles are dropping blue mail +1 today. It's not something that we'll see much use out of, but it has good armor values and can be good vendor fodder. And Ozzy falls into the hole. Phone has reached the end of factory and has nothing to show for it. As with every other time this boss appears, Phone makes quick work of our series. Smerc is beginning the Magus encounter now. Let's see who we get. And it's Luca. Those blue plates, while not completely worthless, will do nothing against her ultimate attack. Phone has reached Aris Dome. He will be in go mode when he leaves this place. And Smerc will begin his Luca fight now. With a lucky fire barrier at the start, Smerc has the opportunity to really deal some damage to the boss. $1965 damage to Magus in Phase 1 is no small accomplishment. A few more of these, and this fight is over. Phone begins the Guardian now. Luca again puts up a fire barrier. Smerc is having a great time right now. Chrono unfortunately bites the dust, but he wasn't doing much anyway. Speaking of biting the dust and not doing anything, Phone has taken the Guardian down. In another lucky break, Luca puts up a lightning barrier for Chrono to blast through. Phone catches the rat and is getting closer to go mode. With no counterattack from Luca, Smerc has entered the second phase of his Luca fight. There will be no more barriers, and once the spell starts being cast, she will be fully vulnerable to all damage. This fight is over. Smerc takes Luca down and is on to Zeal and the final dungeon of the game. Phone just found his other sword piece and feels a cold chill running down his spine. This was a very easily accessible go mode that he would be starting 70 minutes into the run. But as we know, there is a super lucky reward at the end of this dungeon for Phone. If it were anything else, he would be doomed to start Magus Castle long after Smerc had already cleared. And Phone breathes a sigh of relief with his Tyranno Go mode being achieved. It's time to make his last minute preparations, while Smerc is headed to the Ocean Palace. The new shop is not terribly helpful today. Thankfully, amulets are always available. And Phone locks in his team, opting for the 1000 AD squad. Smerc is working his way through Golem and will be in Ocean Palace shortly. Phone has arrived in prehistory and will be headed to Tyranno Lair now. Smerc makes it through the Golem. He now has one dungeon and one twin boss between him and Lavos. Phone gets through the first half of Chrono lair without losing any time to miss skips. Smerc has activated his button, and we'll see how much time he spends in the grind spot. Phone starts his Nizbal to fight. And Nizbal goes down. Phone appears to be consistently forgetting how to do this skip recently, which is funny to see. Smerc begins his grind now. And Flare makes quick work of the grind spot. Phone is gearing up for his Chrono fight. And Phone begins his Chrono boss as Smerc continues to grind. Arzala goes down. We're in the final phase of the Chrono fight. Phone makes it through the Chrono. Smerc has reached level 30 and should be about strong enough to finish out the run. Phone checks the secret rock spot and finds a blue rock plus. And its barrier. Get that junk out of here. And Smirk heads down to the depths. Phone has had enough shopping and heads to the palace. Phone begins his golem encounter. Phone opts to use Antipode 3 to blast the golem down. Normally, we want to use fire and water magic to lock the golem into a lot damage cycle, but if the damage is good enough, it can be ideal to lock him into an iron orb cycle by casting a strong spell followed immediately by a physical attack. Smirk meanwhile is prepping his frog for the elevator. With Frog Squash on 1 horsepower, Frog can trivialize the entire sequence there. Phone does not have Frog, but Dino Tail can achieve the same effect. Let's see what he ends up doing there. And just like that, the golem goes down for Phone while I was talking your ear off. Smirk has reached the last encounter before the elevator and is ready to blast. Smirk opts to take on the optional elevator encounter. He'll end this run at a fairly high level, so Lavos shouldn't be too much of a threat. Phone has made some party adjustments going into the grind spot. And just like that, Smerc makes quick work of the elevator and will be moving on to the twin golems shortly. Phone's Ayla learns every useful tech at the same time. Phone's party is a full 10 to 11 levels behind Smerc. He switches Marl back in, seemingly finding what he needed out of Ayla. Smerc moves on to the penultimate boss battle. He's one quick fight away from the end game. And Phone has seen enough. We're out of the grind spot and ready to roll. Smerc's Chrono goes down. Smerc makes it through the Golem twins. Phone is still fairly low in terms of levels and several screens behind. He has brought Ayla back in for the elevator. Phone appears to be leaning into Falcon hitch strategies for elevator. This works very well without requiring you to reduce your HP to 1 to deal physical screen damage. Smerc is making his final equipment decisions and will be starting the Lavos fight soon. Phone begins the elevator as Smerc rolls out. and we have our first Lavos encounter of the run. Fire sword to hits for nearly 3,500 damage. This is more than strong enough to clear this game. Phone gets through the elevator now, and we'll be on to the Golem twins shortly. Obstacle will be going out now. Thankfully Smirk is healed up and fairly strong overall. And Obstacle is full stop. This is a worst case scenario. While it is possible to survive long enough for a stop to wear off, normally this kind of situation warrants a reset. Phone gets through his scout skips and is ready for his twins. And Smirk is forced to reset and change his approach. They will be high-fiving in this room. If Smirk had encountered this on Lavos 2, he likely would have been able to survive it. Phone begins his twin golems as Smirk rethinks his equipment. And Phone does a repeat of his single golem strategy, using Cyclone to lock both golems into a physical attack. And Phone makes it through the golems. Smirk is ready for Lavos round 2. Smirk avoids the full stop this time, so he will likely get through this boss. And our runners high five again, with Phone starting his first Lavos attempt. With no good party healing that doesn't take to characters' turns, Phone turns to Lapis to sustain his party. Smirk has broken through the shell and will be high-fiving Phone in the second boss room soon. Phone struggles a little with the stops and the lack of party healing. Phone is through the shell. Smirk begins his second Lavos now. Phone throws on more status protection. And Phone begins his fight with Cellmax. Smirk has destroyed the arms and is on the second phase of the boss now. Another full stop goes out for Smirk. Phone's party is bleeding out and Smirk prepares to face tank a nuclear bomb while unable to move. And now Smirk is bleeding out. He is however no longer stopped. The plan worked. Phone is through his arms and survives obstacle with no stops. At this point, they are both in about the same place, ready to dump damage into the boss. Smirk takes another stop to the face. And Phone is through the boss. Let's pop the audio back over to his side. Phone hits the menu glitch and heals up. It looks like he'll be swapping from immunity back over to damage output. This is a good strategy if you can beat the middle bit down before it uses its big abilities, like the random status effect. You want to be able to do about 4,000 damage per turn or so. And Phone clears the 4,000 damage threshold with damage to spare. Smerc has now made it through Lavos too, and will be starting the fight now. Phone uses haste on Chrono to give him the ability to throw out Ice Sword 2 and Fire Sword 2 in one turn. It's hard to lose to Lavos with this level of damage output. Lavos is Lavos, however, and seems to be trying to knock Chrono out. These things can happen in this unpredictable boss fight. Middle bit goes down for Phone. He'll need to do 20,000 damage to the core to win. Smerc is in his menu and healing up. If Phone manages to choke here, Smerc can still take the crown. Core defenses go down for Phone as Smerc starts the fight. 4,400 damage for Phone. And Ice Sword 2 goes out for Phone. Smerc goes for left bit strats. This is more dangerous, but can give him a chance to catch up. Phone is now at 8,400 damage. $12,800 for Phone. $16,800 for Phone. One more attack will do it. Smerc's core lowers its defenses, but it's too late. Phone will defeat the boss here. And with a time of 1 hour 43 minutes and 28 seconds, Phone has finished the run and claimed victory. Smerc is right behind him and should be finishing up shortly. While we wait for the end here, let me thank everyone for watching and all that you do. If you would like to participate in races or learn the randomizer, join the Discord linked in the description. Let's pop the audio over to Smerc to finish this run out. and with a time of 1 hour 46 minutes and 0 seconds flat, Smerc has finished his run and will come in a close second place. Thanks again for watching, and good night.